Human, the finest creature among all species. Why do we consider ourselves as the greatest? Of course, we have excellent physical ability and such a creative mind, which gives us an ability to initiate things. And art is one of the visible evidence.
In the past, when some people worship God, some of them are willing to sacrifice themselves, either by torturing themselves or committing suicide. However, some people is doing something different. They are putting in their effort to create a great work of art to satisfy his master, the God. Work of art had been created since the ancient times, and it reached the highest point during the Renaissance period. And that was the period where many great artists and their works can be named out. Here, in the city of Florence, located in Italy, was the center of this phenomenon created.
Renaissance period was a period when every kind of knowledge flourished. Harmonious mixture of aesthetics, beliefs, and science could be found in artwork. In this period, several elegant pieces of art were produced. For example, St. Peter's Basilica's architecture by Donato Bramante, Portrait of a Man and Woman at a Casement by Filippo Lippi, Mona Lisa and a Vitruvian Man by Da Vinci. Apart from these, one of the most significant masterpieces was undoubtedly Michelangelo's David. Church is a place of solace, a place where people come together to meet each other, to share stories, and to pay respect to the Lord. On every Sunday, people came here to relieve their mind by listening to the priest. Reading a Bible certainly is one of the routines of the people who visit the church. In the Bible, we will find the story of David and Goliath. David was a young man who volunteered to fight Goliath, the greatest warrior of Philistine army, by using only a single slingshot and a pouch full of stones. With faith in God, the young David defeated the notorious warrior Goliath. In the story, moral values were hidden in the characteristics of young David. Courage, sacrifice, motivation were David's characteristics and the moral value in the story. Through these interpretations, it had inspired a number of artists in their sculpture. Donatello was the very first sculptor who materialized the David statue. He was hired by a wealthy man to illustrate the moral values into an object. Clearly, David's statue was the representative of courage and the virtue of overcoming fear. The original statue was the first standing alone nude sculpture, and it could be considered as the prototype of all other Davids in the following time. A masterpiece of David's statue begins soon after that.
Donatello's David was made from bronze. Despite it being the very first David created, it was not the most famous David. The most renowned David was materialized from a marble. Here we are at one of the largest mines in Thailand. This is a resource of various types of marble. One of these was used to carve out the David statue, one of the greatest masterpieces of all times. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the mine.
Marble was commonly used by sculptors during the Renaissance time. In order to produce great sculptures, every procedure has to be carried on delicately and cautiously due to its unique characteristics of being hard on the outside but soft in the inside.
David's statue was once just a piece of marble. It was cut from the city of Carrara before being sent to the city of Florence for the final process of sculpting by the first artist called Donatello.
Despite the attempts of various artists to complete the David statue, their efforts were in vain. It was as if that the statue was waiting for the right man to reveal him, the man full of talent, like Michelangelo. From his ambition, he accepted the challenge, which others would have not chosen. Filled with talented gift, the young Michelangelo completed the impossible task, which he could not have made any mistake, or else this block of marble that have been left for more than 4 decades would have been just another ordinary marble tiles, which luckily is not. Additionally, he is also filled with the knowledge about science, like anatomy. He obtained this knowledge by studying from real corpses and analyzed from observing various phenomena. This knowledge influenced him to make his work look as real as possible, to show the beauty of man. From his deliberation, he had made this block of marble into the masterwork, the David statue.
The location where the David statue would be placed was a big issue for people at that time. While Michelangelo was working on the statue, he initially decided to place it on the buttress of the cathedral. By placing the David statue on the buttress of the cathedral, it would be visible to everyone and it would further emphasize the outstanding performance of David. However, with its massive size and weight, it was unable to complete his plan. So, it was placed on the square in front of the town hall of Palazzo della Signoria. At the square, it had become such an exquisite attraction for people who passed by as they stopped to appreciate the statue. After a couple of centuries, it was moved inside to be displayed in the Accademia Gallery, where now it has become a famous tourist attraction for people around the world.
From this 3D model of David statue made by Stanford University, we could see that physical structure of David could be interpreted in many aspects. Firstly, through its contrapposto stance, it shows David in his relaxation and expressing a psychological disposition. It is claimed that Michelangelo's David depicts a scene when David had made a decision to fight but had not actually faced Goliath. Secondly, David has a golden section of a man, despite the little knowledge about anatomy in the past. For instance, from the top of David's head to his navel, and from his navel to his feet, have the proportion of 38 by 62. Similarly, from the top of David's head to his pubic bone, and from that to his feet, have an equal proportion of 50 by 50. Thirdly, one issue which people always wonder is why David's statue is portrayed nude. David's nudity facing Goliath is explained in the book 1 Samuel chapter 17 verses 38 to 39. In the Bible, Saul supplied David with a warrior's dress, and David wore it. However, he couldn't walk with it, and therefore took it off. Therefore, it could be assumed that after David took off the warrior's clothes, he remained nude. Looking close into detail, people find it peculiar that although David was Jewish, he was not circumcised. It is a culture to the Jewish that all men had to be circumcised, but in the Renaissance art, it was customary not to admit to the effects of the operation. Lastly, the reason which made David's statue one of the most famous sculptures in the world was its precise detail in anatomy. Blood vessels are portrayed vividly accurate, from the large organ, like the artery in the neck, to the finest detail on its hand. In addition, David also has great portrait of muscular body. Since Michelangelo had studied human's anatomy very well, every muscle, every wrinkle, and every hairline were indicated clearly on David's body. With all of Michelangelo's effort, a gigantic piece of marble had finally turned into the gorgeous 17 feet tall David statue, elegantly standing in front of the town hall of Palazzo della Signoria. The David statue had contributed immensely to its country and people around the world. Its contributions could be categorized into three main aspects: aesthetic, cultural, and politics. Aesthetically, with brilliant ability of Michelangelo and the effort which he had put through a piece of marble, surely it had made the statue gracefully beautiful. Plenty of sculptures by later artists were influenced by the David statue in many ways. For example, emotional, proportional, and the process of making statue. Culturally, since it was the great work in Renaissance period, it could lead people's thoughts and feelings back to the time it was created. As a result, we could learn more on the cultural aspect of people at that time. Many replicas of David's statue were created in plaster and fiberglass to represent the feelings of Renaissance. It could be said that the place where David's statue was situated could provide a sense of Italy, so the statue could be considered as a symbol of the culture in Italy at that time. Politically, at that time, the David statue had become the representative of power. When the David statue was moved from one place to another, artists would then be called to build a replica to replace the original, as states were unwilling to lose their power and control. From the story of David and Goliath, David was the representative of conquering of less powerful over the more powerful, and the new foreign government used the David statue to symbolize the new government's political power.
The David statue was considerably one of the best artwork in Renaissance period. From the day the David statue was first sculpted to the day it was completed, the statue had shown the ambitious characteristics of the makers and its tremendous influence to the society. Additionally, it also inspired other artists in the following Renaissance period in their art. The David statue had proven the ability of humans to integrate the accumulative knowledge and beliefs. It was the excellent combination of knowledge that transformed a mere piece of stone into a masterpiece. This made the statue perfect in both senses, realistic and aesthetic, and therefore, the David statue deserves its reputation as one of the finest masterpieces ever created on earth.
Over thousands of years, art has been continuously developing along with mankind. from a mere piece of graceless stone to the gorgeous statue of all time. It has become one of the most essential aspects in human life. Man creates art to express his thoughts and feelings. Art has symbolized the outstanding abilities of mankind, and without art, man would have become just another creature in the world.